Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
So we did the whole thing, and I had my mic muted. So you mute because I hear you double. So we did the whole thing, and I have.
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes. So look again. This is Phoebe's Place. I am your host, Phoebe Wells, and I am talking about adoption on tonight. So we are focusing on what about the children. So the whole month we're going to have resources about for our children. We're going to have testimonies later on down the line about infertility. So we are just going to dive in. So Roger, give us your education journey.
Oh, Lord. Well, hello, everybody. First of all, I wanted just to say for yesterday, we were supposed to do this yesterday, but unfortunately, duty calls, and I had an emergency on one of my cases, so we had to postpone it for today. So thank you guys for being patient for today. Educational background. I started my education here at Citrus Community College, and then I matriculated to Atlanta, Georgia, where I obtained my bachelor's degree at Morris Brown College. And then I continued my education and received my master's degree at Clark Atlanta University, where I received it where I received it in social work. Hello? I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. So he gives us the short version of his education journey. But I want to say this, and Roger, I know you remember. So how old were you when you started your journey? Because you didn't start right out of high school. Hey, Monica.
No, right after high school, I went to Citrus College, and I started there. And just getting my the core classes, I should say, because I was still undecisive in what I wanted to do. And because I didn't know what I wanted to do, it took me a long time to figure it out. When I started noticing my other friends actually doing their work and leaving, I was like, okay, Roger, you're getting a little bit older. So I just really just stuck with, I just stuck with criminal justice at the time at Citrus. And then we have a mutual friend in common. Her name is Felicia, and she had moved away. And I always kept in contact with Felicia when she went to Clark, Atlanta. And so I was just like, you know what? I think that's where my move is going to go to. So I did. I made that move to Atlanta. And when I first finished at Morris Brown, I worked in a halfway house. And I wasn't thinking about social work. So I worked in the Federal Bureau of Prison. And that was when I figured me working with families that I wanted to further my education with in the field of social work. And after working, with those families, that's when I went to Clark, Atlanta. And then I worked for the Department of Children and Family Services of Fulton County in Atlanta. That's where I started my journey over 20 years ago as an emergency response worker out there. And then when I finished, when I obtained my master's, then I moved back to California. And I didn't immediately started working for DCFS. I worked in a private sector, foster family network, as a social worker, and just was really just a social worker for children who were in foster care, but we were more the support staff to the foster parents. And then later I moved over to DCFS, where I'm currently at now.
Okay. And I want to say, because I remember, Roger, you just made the decision. You packed your car and you just made a decision. You said, I'm gone. Yeah. We always looking like, are you really like You drove to Atlanta
I
in
did.
your Honda.
In my Honda Accord. I packed that joker all the way down.
Yes.
Um, and it's funny, not to get off subject, but what really made my decision was I visited Atlanta. Um, Me and my friend, we was going for Freaknik, but my goal, secretly, I wanted just to get away. Excuse me. I wanted to get away. I wanted to, see something different. And literally, when I went to Atlanta, to see the historical Black colleges and within around the corner from each other, I was like, you know what, whatever school accept me, except Spelman, of course. I said, whichever school takes me in, I'm leaving. And that's what I did. I applied, they accepted me on the spot. And when I came back, people didn't believe me. They was like, you're really moving. And I was like, I am gone. And my two-seater Honda Accord or hatchback, whatever it was at that time, I packed my car up and I drove from California to Atlanta.
You definitely did. Because we were standing there looking like we were just watching you drive off.
Yeah.
But now when you got out here, let me say this. I want to say this about Roger. First of all, he left and he came back. And when he came back, he is always helping someone. Roger has oh my God, he's fed the homeless on Skid Row. He's had an Easter egg hunt for the kids in Los Angeles. He is such a giving human being. And I know that's why God blesses you so much, because you give. You consistently give without thought. You always thinking of someone else. And I don't know, I heard it, but today is National what is it? Only Child Day. So we are only children.
Right.
But yeah. What in leading into what you're doing now, what is your motivation for being in this field and transitioning? Because you've been with your company for a long time.
Yes. I've been with the DCFS for 16 years. But the motivation was, I didn't initially start in adoption. I started in, we call it continuing services, where a family, unfortunately, when whatever situation, that brings them to the attention of DCFS, if their children have to come into custody or not, my role at that time when I first started, was to help them unify with their children. And I did that for 2 years. I should say. And then I was so used to the fast pace of it all when I first started in Atlanta, that I transferred as an emergency response worker. And I did that for 12 years. And that function and role of DCFS is really critical, because we're making hard decisions, unfortunately, where we make a decision to remove a child out of the custody of his or her parental parents because of whatever situation that family is dealing with at that time. So dealing with that for, I said 12 to 13 years.
Wow.
I found myself extremely just burnt out of it. And I don't want to say getting old. I say as we graciously mature. As I was, maturing in age, I was like, you know what? There's people younger than me that has the willpower and all that, and the brain power to do that. So let me find another position, and adoption just so happened to open up for me. And because of my credentials, of me having my MSW, I was granted the opportunity to work in adoptions.
Awesome. His journey is powerful. Pay attention. So there are those that are watching that, and I know that there are certain areas you don't operate in, and just for everyone, I did put the links in the comments. Hopefully you see them. And you can just click on the link when it tells you the steps of adoption. But tell us what you do in adoption now, and basically kind of give a overall kind of how do one get started in adoption.
So we consider, for us, we have 4 kind of like components
Mm-hmm.
of adoption. So the first part, when an individual will like is interested, and let me say this before I really get into it really quick. When you, the individual, would like to become a foster parent, is very noble, and we really do appreciate everyone, for wanting to render their services to a
Mm-hmm.
child that's been faced with whatever situation that they've been faced. However, I always, because I'm going to describe what I do, but I have a dual caseload. I have a caseload of applicants who
Mm-hmm.
want a child, and then I have a caseload of children. So when I meet with my applicants, we have to meet with them individually. I always ask, why do you want to become a foster parent? And it's not to try to, be mean or whatever, but we come across some bad apples. We have great apples, and
Mm-hmm.
we have some bad apples. But when I have families who have children, I always want a person to always, you know, first of all, pray about it, to
Yeah.
your higher being, if this is something that you truly want to do, because we only have children with the Department of Children and Family Services. We're going to talk about the agencies, on another segment, but a lot of our children that are from 0 to 18, they come with issues. So if you have a child at your home and you would like to, become a foster parent, I always um, encourage the parents, to incorporate the children, because you may have a child that's never been exposed to any of the abuse or any,
Mm-hmm.
miss fortune that our children in children's services have to deal with. So when you are bringing a child into your home, you're taking a great risk, especially with your children, because you don't know what type of issues that child has, that you want to come into your home. So once got
Mm-hmm.
that clear vision that, okay, this is still what I want to do, um, you go through the first process. It's called Resource Family Approval, or it's called RFA, but it's Resource Family Approval. And Phoebe do have the information. You will call the warm line number, which is 877-323-7165, or you can email at the warm line at dcfs.lacounty.gov. And what happens is, once you call in or email that you would like to become an adoptive parent, then you will begin the process. So when you start the process, a worker will be assigned to you, and then they'll come out, and then there's going to be a list of things that you are going to have to complete. And so I'm not going to go throughout the whole thing, because we do have a link to where you can click on. There's going to be like a pamphlet, and it will let you know. But basically, what you have to do is you have to get a live scan. You got that's the same as being fingerprinted. You have to go through a psychological interview. You have to go through the Megan's Law, be checked for Megan's Law, criminal background check. Um, Everybody inside your home that is the age of 18 and older has to live
Mm-hmm.
scan. So I always tell, well, the worker, I should say, because I don't do this part, they will always ask, has anybody had a criminal background? And there are things that are exempt. So you always have to be honest, and let the worker know. You know, unfortunately, I do have a hit on my background, and so even though you may have a hit, it just really depends on what that hit is. It can be exempt. So,
Okay.
when you're honest, because what you don't want to happen is be deceitful and go through the process, and then the department finds out that you have been dishonest. It just makes it a little bit harder, and then it puts a little stain on, towards you or what have you. You have to do
Mm-hmm.
classes. You have to do parenting classes. You got to do it's about like 20 hours or so worth of classes that you have to
Okay.
do. And you have to do like CPR. You'll be trained. So I'm not too familiarized with how the beginning process is, because I don't deal with that. But this is just some of the basic things that you
Mm-hmm.
will have to before the home is approved. Then the social worker would do a
Okay.
thorough walkthrough of your home. And if there's anything that that needs to be upgraded, that needs to be enhanced, that needs to be fixed, they will still work with, the department will still work with you, because the goal is they would like to really certify your home, to be ready for to be, to go through the process. And let me say this, when you're going through the process, and once you complete the process, you can either be a foster parent, you will be certified to be a foster parent, and you will be also considered as an adoptive parent. And that's where I'm about to go into next.
Mm,
So once you
okay.
have completed the whole, process of being approved, now you are now a certified foster parent with the Department of Children and Family Services. And what you can, you can ask, children can already be placed in your home, and you don't have to even worry about being about adoption if you just want to go through the route of being a foster parent. However, if you want to now go through to become an adoptive parent, this is when the second phase come in, and you will be assigned to a worker, and that will be me. My title is Matching Monitoring Services Social Worker. My role
Mm,
is to help the new applicant to be matched with a child. So what my role is, I will make the appointment. I will go out to the prospective applicant's home.
mhm.
Because you already went through the process, I'm just my role is just trying to get to know you, and trying to get a feel of your family dynamics, and see what type of child that that will fit your household, I should say. So there's a 4-page document, and me and the family, we go over it. And on that record, I mean, on those documents, it really tells you what type of children that we deal with: medical fragility children, children who has hearing impediment, excuse me, who is blind, who has been abused, who has been sexually abused, who's been physically abused, been neglected, medical issues to the point to where G tubes. It really breaks it down. And just say, like, for example, if you say, you know what, Mr. Flowers, I really just cannot deal with a child that has a lot of medical issues. That's okay. Because what we would rather for you to be honest with us and say what you can handle and what you cannot handle. And then that way because we have a plethora of children on within a database, the department, I should say, can try to match you up with the best child as possible. We also, this is what I also want to say, because of the world that we are in now, we do get into your
Mhm.
business. So we do have to
Okay.
ask those hard questions. So we have a lot of families. Well, I have on my caseload, I have a lot of families that are same-sex couples that that would like to adopt, or single,
Okay.
single male or single women. So
Mhm.
let's talk about children that the courts give a voice to, like age 10 and higher.
Mhm.
We have to interview our children as well, because we have to ask them, what do they like. We just,
Wow.
let's talk about same-sex couple. The same-sex couple, they'll let me know what they can deal with. But if I have a child, 10 years old, that can speak for him or herself, I have to
Mhm.
ask them, do you know what same-sex couple is? Some will say yes, some will say no. And I have to I have to tell them, I have to be honest with them. I have a same-sex couple, man, man, or woman to
Mhm.
woman, that is interested in adopting you. Do you feel comfortable? And a child can say no. A child can say yes. And I always tell my
Mm.
same-sex couples, when you are interested, when you are interested in a child, and if you put your interest
Mhm.
in that child, but if that child says, I'm not comfortable being in a home in the same-sex household, you can't be upset, to the parent, to the
Okay.
same-sex couple. You can't be upset, because that's their right, and we have to go by
Mhm.
how they feel. But I can honestly say that a lot of my kids who can't speak for themselves, They's like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, I just want home, or it
Oh.
doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? So, but the courts will ask the department, did you ask the child, because
Uh-huh.
if we violate their rights, we can get in trouble for violating
Okay,
the child.
real question. So
Mhm.
that's the ages of 10 and what? That they get a voice like that?
10 and higher, yes. Yes.
That I
Because
didn't know that. That's good
yeah,
to know.
yeah, because they'll go to court if they're 10 and younger, I mean, not well, 9 and younger, they don't really have that child really don't really know a sense of knowing. But yes, a child 10 and higher, and you know what, it may be 12, but I really think it's 10, because at the age of 10 they can we have to give them a notice. We have to, when we serve all the
Mm.
families, the 10-year-old gets a notice for court. So yeah, they do have to go to court, and they will be asked in court, you know, how they feel about adoption. We have to really explain it to the child in detail, their age appropriateness. So let me just say that, because we do have some
Mm.
kids around that age that really don't really understand what adoption means. However,
Mm-hmm.
it's our job and our responsibility to, we do like what's called a life book, and we'll show like a family, and we'll sit down with them. What is your idea of a family? And they'll say a mom, a dad, sister or brother, they'll break it down to us. So when we make sure that they understand what it means to be adopted, then it kind of makes it a little bit easier. But some children still don't, they don't care what their mom or father has done. They just want to go back to their parents. But when you're
Uh-huh.
dealing with teenagers that really know who themselves, and they know that their parents is not coming back, then they'll let us know, you know what, yeah, find me a home. I want to be adopted. I want to be in a forever home. Now,
Mm. Oh,
before I go on, you can ask me anything if you want me to
no, no,
go.
no, no. I was really wondering that, so I didn't know. Thank you.
So after when, okay, so after when I go through that process with them, I will put them into the system. It's called our matching coordinating unit, and then I will submit your application to our database system, and that's a different component with DCFS. And then they'll try to match. They will try to match. They'll try to find a perfect. I ain't gonna say perfect, but they'll try to match. And
Mm-hmm.
once we've matched a child with the family, there, we have to disclose everything. So with the applicant, I have to disclose the rooter to the tutor from the beginning. What brought this family to the Department of Children and Family Services? What happened? I have to explain. I have to describe everything. After,
Wow.
when I go there, then we go into their birth dynamics. I give them where the child was born, how much the child weighed,
Mm-hmm.
everything. We even talk about medical history, mental health history, educational history, and we even do talk about birth parents. We don't give out the information. We just, it's very vague. We will just say mother, African American, born in California, and then if she was married or not, if she had an issue with drugs or alcohol, if she has a
Mm-hmm.
criminal history, and we'll do the same for the dad. It's really important that I say this part. Just because a child is within the adoption, that doesn't mean that their parents' right has been terminated.
Mm.
So some children are still having visits with their parents, and the parents' parental rights has yet to be terminated. The courts will be made aware of that recruitment services is being done for the child, and once a applicant has been identified,
Mm-hmm.
then the courts will proceed to terminate the parental rights. So then that child can move on with that family. So all the time, a lot of parents' right has not been terminated yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they get to see, so, okay, providing that the parent, um, I mean, the people that adopt the child, so they still would have to work with the biological parent
No,
if they're still,
no, no. Only the department will work with the parent because,
oh,
yeah, because we have to keep the adoptive parents' identity confidential. So,
okay.
the adoptive parents will never, should never interact with the biological parents. Now, if they finalize the adoption, and they have now
Mhm.
adopted that child, it's up to the adoptive parents now because that's their child. If they in the future, if a child asks about their parents, if they would
Mhm.
like to, reintroduce them back to their parents, that's their decision to do that. The department don't make that decision for them because it's good to protect the identity, of the adoptive parents. Some
Wow.
adoptive parents do, and some adoptive parents do not. It just really depends on the
Uh,
nature of the situation. But yeah, but no, we always intervene. So if
okay.
so if the parent still has visitation rights, the department has to make sure that that child still see their parents.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they
Yeah,
do have to, okay.
yeah.
What's approximate process time for adopting?
And that's always a hard question to answer because it really depends on the nature of the case. So I'm going to answer that question real. Give me just 1 second. So for me, if I have a successful match, say like the child has went through the process with the adoptive parent, and if that is a successful match, then my role with the journey has been completed because my role is
Mm,
to match. So what I do is now I transfer the case to an adoption worker that will take it all the way to the end.
okay.
So to answer your question, it's really hard um, to answer that question because
Okay.
unfortunately, when the courts terminate the rights of the parents,
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, we have some parents that will make allegations against the new family for whatever reason to prevent
Mm-hmm.
for the adoption to be finalized because um, the parent excuse me the parent when
Mm-hmm.
they feel that they're really going to lose their child,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to try every step of the way. The courts will know when a parent is being trying to be devious or whatnot and
Yeah.
trying to stop that process, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll go ahead and still grant the adoption approval. So I see that my colleague and Amity Jones is on it, and she's correct. It does vary. So that's why I can't. When my foster parents ask me how long does it take, I can't
Mm-hmm.
never answer the question. It could take 6 months. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. It just really
Okay.
depends on each case. So I just tell my applicants at the beginning, when they're with me, to really be
Mm-hmm.
patient, really
Okay.
bond with the child. Bond with the
Mm-hmm.
child as they, because they're getting to know them, and they're
Okay.
getting to know the child as well. Some matches that are not successful, unfortunately, because when a child
Mm.
is at home, that child will start to discriminate some bad behaviors. And sometimes some applicants can say, you know what, I can work with this. I can still deal with
Mm-hmm.
this. Okay. But then we have some applicants be like, yeah, punching a hole in the wall or stealing my credit card and doing all that. I can't deal with that. And that's their rights. That's their rights to
Mm-hmm.
say that. Also,
Mm-hmm.
if a child that has been, placed in a home and they say, you know what, I don't think that this is going to be a good match for me. We cannot force that child to stay in that home. We have to,
Mm-hmm.
we have to hear and we have to honor, we could still try to work with the family, say, well, why don't you think you can stay or whatnot? But if a child is adamant, it's like, no, this is not a good fit for me, then we have to start the process all over again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So listen, this was good. I felt like I'm in class.
Oh Lord.
He's such a good instructor.
Oh.
But it's 7:30. This went by so fast. Roger,
Oh.
thank you so much. And
we're
listen,
done.
I'm putting up the websites that you go to and the phone numbers. And when the show is over, Go ahead.
I wanted to describe some of the links that are going on the across the screen.
Okay.
So the warm line and the telephone number again, if you would like to start the process of RFA approval, which is called Resource Family Approval, you will email the warm line, or you will call the warm line. The Heart Gallery, there's a website that she put up, the Heart Gallery. That also falls under me. So a lot of my kids are on the Heart Gallery. So if you click on that link, you will see it. It says, you will see the 3 lines, and it will say Meet the Kids. So you will see on the Heart Gallery all some of the kids that we have up that's up for adoptions.
Oh, so they can go on there and see who they would like to adopt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one thing that I did leave out that I would like to say real quick. When the applicant is ready to that has been approved, every third Wednesday we have what is called it's an adoption fair every third Wednesday of the month. And the same kids that you see on the Heart Gallery, some of those kids are being presented that night. And so if you, the applicant, is interested in any child that you see, either on the Heart Gallery or during the presentation on the third Wednesday of each month, then you'll just email your assigned worker. Just say like me. If you saw a child on the caseload, and if you was assigned to me, you would either call me or email me and say, hey, Mr. Flowers, I see little Johnny Walker, on the Heart Gallery, or he was presented on the third Wednesday, affair. I'm interested. And so I will submit your name to our matching coordinating unit. And then we could possibly see if that's a good match for you. So that's how that's one component as well that, we try to match the children. So with a family.
And that's every third Wednesday.
Every third Wednesday of the month, correct. But you have to complete the RFA approval. You just can't go on there. This is after when you have officially completed all your classes, you've been approved by the department, and that you have been been approved to become either a foster parent or an adoptive parent.
Got it. So you got to go begin the process.
You have to begin. Exactly, which starts off with either that 877 number or the warm line email.
Which is this one that you're talking about, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. This was very good and informative. My husband in the background was. No, but this was good. And I know a lot of people that reached out to me, they're going to get to see it, whether Facebook or YouTube, but they'll get to see it and hear the information that's provided for us. Roger, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate what you do for just people in general, children, adults, seniors. Thank you. Thank you. So y'all listen. You have any questions?
Timothy Jones, she's a social worker with the department as well. That's my colleague and high school classmate. So we always we call each other from time to time and bounce ideas with each other. So it's a pleasure. It's you met my girls yesterday when I had to we had to back out at the last minute, and so I wanted to show Phoebe the girls that's on my caseload. So it's rewarding. It's very rewarding. Some days I'll be like, oh Lord, but you know what? When you see, like, example for last night, the girls were
Mm,
so happy, you know, um, that, unfortunately they don't have their parents anymore. So trying to
mm,
find them, a home, you know, we can be grouchy and, we're tired, this and that and the other. However,
mm.
it's like being a parent, when the parents see their child and when, see them smile or whatever, that's what it was to me when I saw the girls, they came, they were happy, they were fighting over my tablet, of course, but that made it worthwhile. So, very demanding job, but very rewarding as well.
And I have a quick question. Because so what's happening right now because of what's going on? Are a lot of kids not being adopted? Um,
It just really depends.
okay.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. Um,
Hmm.
it just really depends, on the nature.
Hmm.
If an applicant wants to adopt out of state, we do not we can unfortunately we cannot, give out that information because we're advocating for our children, with the department.
Right. Uh-huh.
There's a link that I did send to Phoebe, and it says foster family agencies, and it's a list of agencies. Those agencies will help you if you would like to adopt a child out of state. I have had a couple of my applicants send me children from out of state, but I cannot help them because we are only responsible for the children, with the with the Department of Children and Family Services only. But
Okay.
that list that I sent to Phoebe, you can register with those particular agencies, and they go across the board from San Bernardino County all the way to LA County, and there's a couple in there in Ventura County as well. So if you don't want to go through the department, that list will be very helpful. And she put it in the comment section where it says parents and foster
Okay.
family agencies. That's the
Okay.
list of all of the agencies in LA County, San Bernardino County, and Ventura County as well. But to go back to your question regarding, we have a lot of children that are being adopted. Um,
Okay.
we just have a lot of children that are still a part of the
You
system.
need them.
So
Wow.
yeah,
And that's a lot. Thank you,
yeah.
Monica.
Thank you,
So what
Monica.
I'm going to do, if anyone wants information, like email to them, I'm willing to do that. This is my email, and I can email you the links that he sent me and then send them to you. Okay. I check my email all the time. So go on and do that, and I can personally send it to you. Or you can just click on the link in the comment section. But
And if they want to talk to me, you can. I'll send you I will send you my information as
okay.
well, and then you can give it to them. My work email and my
Okay.
work cell number.
Okay. Awesome. So I will have that. You want that in the comments after you give
Oh
this?
yeah, I was trying to see how I
Okay.
can do it. I can.
You can do
How
it
do I?
on your phone, through
Oh,
your
I'm not on
phone,
my computer.
or you can do it on the computer. You can still do that.
I know, but I'm trying to. How I don't see the link where I can type.
Okay, so here's the thing. You have to no worries. So you have to go outside of where we are and
Okay.
open up another browser and click
Oh,
on Facebook. Yes, because
okay.
you're in this room. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So when you do that and you click on our show, then you can go on and type it in and it'll show.
Okay.
It'll come up.
Okay. I'm
So
on the
you guys,
phone.
if you have any questions after, so all those that are listening to it after, he will put his information in there. If you need something clarified, please reach out to him. And this is like tugging at my heart because I'm like, my God, I didn't even think about this. So we got to really get back and not be selfish and help other kids that do not have that opportunity and to have a family or was robbed of it. And we have to really get back in the contact with, you know what, let's help. Let's try to adopt, them. So this really opened a lot up for me. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love this. So you all, thank you for watching. Thank you for those that are going to watch after. Thank you for your sharing. You guys are so amazing. So look, I appreciate it. And the reason why we didn't go live last night was because he had an emergency as he was working. He had to place the babies. Okay. So thank you for joining us, Roger. Again, thank you. And you guys tune in next Monday. We're going to deal with mental health for children. Okay.
Yes.
Y'all tune in. So you guys have a blessed night.
Yes.
And my husband. It's okay. So next Monday, see me on Monday at the same time, 7 p.m. And we'll see you there. Y'all have a blessed evening. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Now, Roger, you stay there.
Okay.